everybody in the...
Yeah. Everyone's in the frame, yeah.
Okay.
I got y'all. Look, I do this.
She's not social media stance.
Let's shut this distance in. Okay. Welcome back, y'all. It's Evie here, and I have special guests with me. I have Justine to my right and Damilola to my left. Okay, let's pause. So, what you said about, you referenced Tupac.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people brought this up, and my personal view about that is that I think that we as a society, a lot of people don't believe that you can be in a platonic relationship with a girl and a guy. I think a lot of times we think that, there has to be something if you're that close. And I understand, like he said, like, you make me orgasm without touching or whatever. That's deep, that's a lot, but it is possible. And she, because in the interview, she referenced something about they tried to kiss once, but it didn't feel natural.
I saw that, but I'm not going to sit here in front. In a journey of a friendship, there was something there.
Exactly.
In the journey of a friendship, there was... Now, I'm not saying that is for everybody. She knows this. I have multiple friends like this, but one of the closest males to me, they ain't never kissed, we ain't never done nothing. But neither one of us can deny that at some point through that journey, that there was some
for sure. But and that is true. That can happen, but then you realize, and then you love them like and then you move on. Yeah, and you move on.
I totally agree. But she likes to, like she said, she likes to fix broken people.
Yes.
And that means that she's attracted to those type of people who are like battling within themselves between their good and evil, and she is a fixer. And so I think that August Alsina 100% is like the re-embodiment of Tupac for her, which in my mind, I feel like what she did in this situation, this is just my theory, y'all. When she was with Will and the whole thing with Tupac was over, I think that she paused and became somebody else for the duration of her marriage.
That's real.
She evolved into someone else. I mean, and it's a part of her, not to say that who she is through her marriage is not a part of who she truly is. But what happened when she connected with August, to me, I feel like that literally resurrected a part of Jada from her youth.
The fixer.
I think she's been fixing, but not in the capacity
that she was
with him. I think that it resurrected something about her from her own youth. And I think she was trying to, like, you know how you try to catch that nostalgic moment back?
Yeah.
I think that's what she was doing. It's like when men go through midlife crisis.
Yeah.
That's what she went through. She went through a midlife crisis. And it was just unfortunate that she went through it with,
with someone who was was pretty young, two, was going through so much mentally. And then three.
But he wanted it.
Of course. Oh, he definitely did. I mean, and even the way he described it, you can tell that he's at peace with it.
He went to the University of Jada Pinkett Will Smith at Red Table Talk Academy.
I swear. I mean, the way he even talked about the love, like he could die, like, because he's loved, like, that love. So I think that part of it, I very much can understand, but I think that, how do I say this? I think, and I mentioned this earlier, I still think that there is some level of responsibility. But, I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes, hurt people, and broken people break people. So it's unfortunate. And then, of course, they're celebrities, so now it's in the public arena and the internets, and people are judging. And it's like, there's no definition of marriage. Like, why people are, like, so upset at her? I'm not really... Is this your wife?
I personally don't understand.
I don't
brouhaha is about myself.
Yeah. I get the initial tea and curiosity, but once I watched the video... once I watched the video, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
My thing was, before they even came out with this last video, I literally was like, if you go back and watch the other videos, these people were literally telling you, without flat out telling you, we done been through some things, and trust me, we done stepped out and we came back in.
Yeah.
That's what I gather from other videos, and so it's just very interesting how people are
just like.
But you know what, guys? Can I bring in? Since I was not able to do, I'm so mad. I may still do it, but Insecure. Have you?
Which episode?
Okay. So remember, so I'm sorry. You're going to be left out this conversation real quick, though.
It's okay. I might chime in if I feel like I have to.
Right. Okay, so the episode where Molly realizes that her father cheated on her mother, and she's so upset at her father.
Ketchup.
Okay.
For real.
You see how she treats me?
For real.
She looked at me?
Don't mind.
Because you behind, girl. just watch season 4. You'll be fine.
Okay.
But she's so upset. And I think it's because people they have this ideal of what marriage is supposed to be, and they don't understand that relationships, marriage, it's defined between those two people. Even that's why, people get so upset about, like, gender roles and whatnot, because it's not about what I am supposed to do as a wife. It's supposed to be what I'm supposed to do as a wife to my husband.
Yes.
As we agree.
Yes.
That we decide.
I think that our generation is doing this thing. We're moving in this direction.
Yeah.
That's different than our previous, because like we've said this all night. Nothing that what they're doing is not the norm for so many people. The marriages are very much so different than what they didn't do though, was they did not normalize it to the public.
Yeah.
So
because
people,
they don't have to.
They don't have to.
But
I do think that it's about time somebody normalizes what a marriage looks like to each, like,
individual.
Customize your stuff.
I'm gonna
stop this Disney princess
on.
type
Oh my
of knight in
God.
shining armor
Stop
that's really
it.
hurting people. And so many. I think that there are so many relationships that don't work out, and so many marriages that break up because of expectation.
Yeah. And
that expectation, when that gets humbled and that disappointment, those things lead to divorce and all of that. So it's not necessarily that both people didn't have the mechanisms or the ability to make the marriage work. It's just sometimes you can be so stuck in your expectation. And mind you, you've lived a whole life in some instances before this person has come along.
Exactly.
And so that expectation has been nurtured by your family, by your society, by your culture, And so when somebody comes into your life that is still a good person, meets all your standards and everything, but wants to do things a little bit different than what you have been conditioned.
You're like, hold up.
But you know what?
Kind of
Polyamory, what?
I agree with
What
you.
is that?
And I to add to what you're saying, I even want to say that I think that people think that marriage is about being served more than it is about serving.
Yeah.
And I think that we live in a society by of which once I'm through with you, then what am I really doing here? Or what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, even past the because somebody can meet your expectation, but if you then change, you as the person involved, and you're like, that no longer suits me anymore.
Real.
Legit, I think people then are like, so then we just don't need to be together. Yeah, and one could easily say, what's wrong with that, right? Yeah. Which is technically true. Like, you could be like, well, you know what?
We served up.
Right. But it could also be a possibility that you just need to, your relationship needs to evolve.
Yes.
Maybe it just means redefining.
That's also true, and there are couples who do that. I have a friend who she's probably like 60 some odd now, and I know.
I have a friend who is 60 or so.
Anyway, she's an old lady. She's more mature.
Right.
Her children are a few years younger than us. She is no longer married, and she now travels the world basically, and she has 3 gentlemen friends who all know about each other, and she goes to New York here, one's there, and she lives her life, and they all know about each other. She was married for years, and she said, my husband was great, there was no abuse, we did what we need to, she was like, my husband was great, life was good, it was a good marriage, it was successful, we had our kids, but it just got to the point where she wanted to travel, she wanted to travel, and he wanted to stay in the house and garden. So she was like, for her definition is marriage is for the purpose of raising the kids. She was like, I had my kids, our marriage was good, and there's no need in forcing him to try and travel the world with me, and there's no need in him forcing me to try and stay in the garden, because maybe that's just where his spirit and his soul is. So in her mind, she had a successful marriage even though they divorced.
Yeah. I mean, and divorce is not a bad thing. I know
some people will say once you divorce, it's not successful.
Right, but it's like,
can be debated.
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, I was just going to say, divorce is not always necessarily a bad thing. 1, if you are leaving a toxic situation, that's great. 2, if you realize that your desires are just different. Like, you know how they used to always say, like, we were divorced, and the reasons are irreconcilable differences. When I was younger, I used to be like, what is irreconcilable? What? Da, 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 da. But now, as I get older, I start to realize.
There's no
You
compromise.
mature.
Exactly. And what you described in this woman who's like 60-something, she defined and she realized that their fundamental desires were different.
We're
And-
a mission, and that's what you call. People need a mission statement and a vision for your marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, and for your life. Because
Yeah.
if you understand who you are and you know what you want and you know what your desires are and how you envision your life, you'll know that. So maybe she may have already known this whole time that she wanted to travel, but she kind of held it in, or maybe she didn't know. You never know. We change.
But
Either way,
yeah.
it came down to she recognized our desires are different.
Yeah.
We're no longer compatible, and that's okay.
And they're great friends. Their kids are happy. Her daughter's getting like their life as a family is great. But I will say what you said about how. Hey, we are trying to shoot a video here. Stop
Honestly,
that.
though, let's.